my name's Tricia Biel-Goebel, and I am an occupational therapist and a mother of one. And I recently went through the JAI parent coaching program. I work with children. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist, and we have our sessions, and I work in a sensory-based gym. So we do a lot of emotional regulation, sensory regulation, social skills, and stuff like that. And those are my passion areas, working with children. And so I was teaching them these skills, and in that 5-minute download with the parents were always asking me, well, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And like, I was just giving them spot information, and really they're not understanding the bigger picture of their role in their child's life with these skills. Like, if it's not happening at home and if they're not modeling it themselves, what we do in an hour session isn't really going to make that much difference. The children will always have those skills, but they're not going to get an opportunity to really practice them and see the people that they spend the most time with practicing them. So I saw this need with the parents, and that was my inspiration. I was like, these parents are really looking for answers that I can't give them in 5 minutes. And I don't know who is there to give them that education and that breakdown and the bigger picture. So I was like, okay, there has to be some way. And that's how I pursued this. So that was my personal interest. I am very comfortable working with children. I've been a teacher, started out as a babysitter, camp counselor, all my life, all my different jobs, and then my eventual career have always been with children. And I lacked confidence bringing this same information to adults and lacked the know-how. I'm like, I know how to communicate with kids. I'm not sure adults. I floundered there. So I needed it for my own confidence, to work with adults. And then partially, I just wanted to know coaching is a different model. It's a model that you can use as an occupational therapist, but it's a different model when you're just doing that. And so I wanted to really get a program that I could then share and not have to spend a lot of effort on the designing of a program, so that it was easier for me to just kind of get the knowledge I have out there. So even though the kids are my clients, I've been able to use the skills of looking beneath their behaviors too, in those 5 minutes that we get every week, to be like, okay, like, what are their unmet needs that are happening when they're telling me this story about their child or what they're struggling with this week. So I'm able to look at them with more compassionate understanding and know that there are ways to get these answers in a cohesive and supportive environment for them. I just had a parent recently ask me, like, oh, we're trying this. She's really struggling with the behaviors of her son, who's 5 years old. And so she was asking me she's like, we're going to try this 1, 2, 3 parenting technique where you do timeouts and stuff like that. Have you heard of it? I'm like, no, I haven't heard of it, but I know about timeouts, and thinking to myself, I know why that's not really going to work, and that's not really what your child needs. And so it's more conversation of like, they're like, well, what would you suggest? I'm like, well, I'm going to get some resources together for you and give you some books to read. And because it's a conflict of interest of me working with the parents and the kids that I see, I'm going to recommend them to one of my JAI parent coaching one of the people in my cohort. I'm like, hey, listen, check this person out. If you feel it's a good match, maybe they can work with you to integrate these skills that you're reading in these books. So I'm able to come to them with more resources, more support, and a place to send them to. Although this model of coaching fits within occupational therapy, we would only be able to see people in state. So as a coach, I have a bit more freedom to see people wherever. I'm not limited to that. So I hope to launch kind of my business portion of this coaching in the fall. I'm kind of simmering now, getting all the little parts together and thinking about how I want to approach it, and then hope to launch in the fall and bring this as a supplement to what I do. I would highly suggest it to bring this skill set for other professionals in the medical field, especially occupational therapists, because we are uniquely aligned to do this work, because we are already looking at our clients as a whole person. We're looking at all of their occupations, and people are a bit confused by what that word is, but they think of work, but it's really just whatever occupies the person's time that you're working with, whether that be something basic as getting dressed in the morning, or their emotional function, their mental function. So we're uniquely designed to kind of do this parent coaching work because we're already looking at the whole system. And it, even if you don't pursue it separately as a parent coach, it will enrich your work with the clients that you do work with. Because I've already used, because I have several teenagers on my caseload right now, and I've used the 5-step coaching process that I learned with Jai with them. And it's been really helpful because they're at the point where they're like getting more into emotions. They have a little bit more baggage built up, and they don't know how to unpack it. And so we can kind of look at it, see what it is. It's okay, it's normal, and here's some ideas we do with it. And also like the co-creation process that I learned, the emphasis on the co-creation versus like the fixing, because that's the model in a lot of therapy is like, oh, a lot of parents have that thought too when they bring their kids to us. It's very frustrating. Oh, we're going to bring your kid to you and you're going to fix them. And I'm like, it's like, I was never on board with that. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. This is especially, I work with kids who have autism. And so, I'm like, your child's always going to have autism. Like, that's not going to go away. So we have to learn how to work with them, who they are. Anyway, so I use the 5-step coaching process, and it's really helpful for those teenagers. And so it can enhance the practice that you have, even if you're not going to do it separately. It's been a really enriching experience, more so than I thought, becoming a parenting coach and going through the program at Jai, because I first thought, okay, it's about the parents and all this and that. And it has been, but the personal growth and the reflection on my own life that I've experienced has been amazing too. And the community that I found, the fellow people in my cohort that I'm still in communication with, and we still support each other. And then the greater Jai community beyond that cohort has been amazing. And it wasn't what I was looking for at all. I didn't even understand the community aspect to it when I started. I was like, oh, and then when they said they're gonna break us up into these smaller groups within the course, I was like, yeah, I was kind of like a little bit annoyed. I'm like, what's that gonna do? And ironically, that's the part that I find to be the best part, so these relationships that I've created with, and the trust that I've created within the group. And I'm like, oh, like, now I get it. Now I get the importance of the community and the community aspect of support and non-judgment and nourishment and knowledge and hand-holding in the most supportive way.